Why is Moldova not part of Romania? Today we're tackling a question that is not so easy to answer satisfactorily. You would hardly find an online discussion of the question, why is Moldova not part of Romania, without sentimental arguments. Almost all that have attempted to discuss it assertively have received some backlash. We understand that emotions can get in the way of how this issue will be presented and received. Nevertheless, we can't continue to shy away from it. No matter how sensitive the question is, we, according to our standards, shall tell you what we found to be the unflavored truth without any biased leaning. That's what we are now set to do in this video. Please enjoy it. First, let's examine each of them. Moldova and Romanian in brief. Moldova is a landlocked country in Eastern Europe. It is officially called the Republic of Moldova. It is bordered by Romania to the west. Please note that important fact. Its northern, eastern and southern borders are shared with Ukraine. The state of Transnistria is on the country's eastern border with Ukraine. Chișinău is the capital and the largest city of Moldova. Moldova is the second poorest nation in Europe by GDP per capita. Much of its GDP is contributed by the service sector. Moldova has one of the lowest Human Development Indexes, HDIs, in Europe, ranking 76th in the world as of 2022. It is a member state of the UN, the World Trade Organization, the WTO, the Council of Europe, EUCO, and the GUAM Organization for Democracy and Economic Development, among other international organizations. Romania is a country located at the intersection of Central, Eastern and Southeastern Europe. The country borders Bulgaria to the south and Ukraine to the north. Its western border is shared with Hungary, while the southwestern is shared with Serbia. More instructive to this discussion is the fact that it shares its eastern border with Moldova, while the Black Sea is at its southeast. Romania is the 12th largest country in Europe and the 6th most populous nation in the European Union. Bucharest is the capital and the largest city in Romania. It currently enjoys full membership in the European Union, the EU, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, European Council, EUCO, and the World Trade Organization, the WTO. Unification, a burning issue. Hardly would you find a Moldovan or a Romanian adult that has never heard about the discussion of the unification of both countries. It is such a popular concept there. It didn't start just yesterday. It has begun at least during the revolutions of 1989. It was on the front burner during the Romanian Revolution in 1989. And following the independence of Moldova in 1991, a movement for the unification of the countries was promoted. Ever since, or even before then, the question of reunification has become recurrent in the public sphere of the two Romanian-speaking countries. It often comes up as a speculation, as a goal, and as a looming danger. Actually, the support for unification has been high in Romania historically. However, the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022 is a revelation of the current disposition of things in the country. A recent survey during this war indicated that only 11% of Romanians would support an immediate unification, while over 42% feel that even if they would support it, it's not going to be at the moment. How do Moldovans feel toward this movement? Well, as popular as the idea is, a majority in Moldova continues to oppose it. Even then, reunification is gaining more momentum there as the support for it has increased significantly. The polls earlier referred to asked, if a referendum took place next Sunday regarding the unification of the Republic of Moldova and Romania, would you vote for or against the unification? The answer, remarkably, has risen from only 20% to approximately 44% support from 2015 to 2022. The response coming from Transnistria and Gagauzia indicates support for unification with Romania is lower in the region than in the rest of Moldova. Both countries have designated individuals advocating the unification as unionists, while the supporters of the union have coined the term Moldovanists for opponents of the concept. But the opponents of the unification sometimes prefer to call themselves statalists. Both countries were in one nation. As the USSR was edging toward its collapse, nationalism was rising in Moldova. In an attempt to identify their national identity, nationalists proclaimed the ethnic and linguistic identity between Moldovans and Romanians. And truly, they appear to be one, sharing the same ancestry. For instance, all of Moldova, except for Transnistria, was already part of Romania before Soviet annexation. We must go back in history to understand all that, but not now. As mentioned, they were unified between 1918 and 1940. Their flags are barely distinguishable. However, centuries before then, the question of separation or unification didn't arise, according to history. Moldova is historically known as Moldavia. It was a crossroad for many ethnicity and empires during much of its history. Those who have traversed at least a portion of the region were the Syrians, Romans, Bulgarians and Mongols, among other people. However, in the 14th century, the Principality of Moldavia was established in the region for Romanians who rejected Hungarian authority and decided to go their own ways. That appears to be when the huge area recognized as Romania started to ascend to nationhood, amassing the wealth, influence and power needed for sovereignty. Diplomatic activities throughout hundreds of years before the emergence of the USSR are a pointer to the oneness of Romanian and Moldova. On the other hand, their independence at different times toward the disintegration of the Soviet Union can be a pointer to another direction, namely that Moldova and Romania have different identities and sovereignties as different countries. So why didn't the two countries unite to achieve independence at once? Well, as pointed out, there are large groups in both countries opposing reunification. But why? Reasons Moldova is not part of Romania. Though closely related by ancestry and language, the two countries have over time developed a distinctly different mentality, perhaps due to occupation by different countries at different times. Remember that Moldova has been part of the Russian Empire since 1812. Though it fell back to Romania and came under it in 1918, in 1940 it was occupied by the Soviet Union. That means in the past 200 years, Moldova has been a part of Romania for just 22 years. Nationalism and its movement that was so strong in 1992 was weakened by the economic problems that were biting harder. Recall that the country had communists as presidents between 1997 and 2009, namely Petru Chirol-Lucinci and Vladimir Voronin, respectively. The communist government was more interested in good relations with Russia than with Romania. Then comes the Transnistria factor. The unresolved conflict with this region will make it so tough, if ever possible, to unite Moldova and Romania. For one thing, no country would want to unite with another one in crisis for fear of not inheriting such a crisis. Only 1/3 of the Transnistria population is Moldovan. This region strictly opposes reunification. Those against it actually hold on to this question as a basis for breaking away. You can understand why there are more in Moldova than in Romania that oppose reunification. Moldova would have to release Transnistria to reunite with Romania, as the region is not all ready to go with Moldova. Meanwhile, Moldova appears to be unwilling to grant Transnistria's independence. The issue of NATO membership will continue to widen the agitation in Transnistria, which agrees to be 100% part of Moldovan and even support reunification with Romania only if Moldova would jettison the future membership of NATO. Then comes to the fore the economic factor. If you checked well, you would have found that Moldova's economy is very weak. It is in fact the poorest country in Europe. You see, another thing Romania would not be willing to inherit is a bad economy, since such would cost the Romanian economy a lot. From the experience of countries that have united with others with a weak economy, Romanians have all the reason to care about the stability of their economy and hesitate to accept Moldova. Of course, there are other reasons. We just choose to itemize the often overlooked ones among them. What does the future hold? The future of reunification of Moldova with Romania is pregnant. Only time will tell what the future holds. Much of what will happen will depend on the geopolitical outlook vis-à-vis the will of the people. However, if a referendum takes place anytime soon, the hope of having Moldova become a part of Romania will not see the light of day soon. Frankly speaking, we have on hand an issue that will continue to linger until resolved. Please tell us if we left out a vital point, or if there is a point you agree with or disagree with. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell.